Hello YouTube, it's Tawana and I'm back with another video. In this video I will be talking about my NCLEX journey. The NCLEX-RN is a test that you will have to take once you have completed nursing school. There is no way around it. You have to take it in order to get your license to practice in the field of nursing. My NCLEX story starts out when I graduated in June of 2018. After I got through with nursing school, I kind of got relaxed, kind of was happy to be out of school, and really didn't take studying for the NCLEX seriously. So I went and I took the NCLEX the first time, August of 2018. When I took it the first time, I knew that I wasn't really prepared as well as I needed to be, but talking to different ones, it was like, oh, the test is easy, it's not bad, whatever. So I went on and took the test. So my first attempt, I took it and I got 75 questions, and I'm like, okay, either I did really good or I did really bad. And the minimum amount of questions that you can get for the NCLEX is 75. The max is 265. So after I took it the first time, I got my card and I did the Pearson Vue Trick. If you're not familiar with the Pearson Vue Trick, is when you go and you register for the test again. When you put your credit card information in and you change your zip code or that 3-digit code on the back, when you change that, if it tries to process your payment, you failed. Like it will say like card declined, or try another card, or contact your credit card company or something like that. It kind of means that you failed. But if you get the pop-up that says that you have a test scheduled and you cannot register again, that's the good pop-up, and that means that you passed. So I got the bad pop-up. I wasn't really hurt. I kind of knew that I didn't prepare as well as I should have, so it was okay. So I went on, I regrouped, and I took the test the second time, October of 2018. And the way that I prepared for those two times, I kind of did questions here and there, not consistent. It was just like doing questions whenever I had like downtime at work or downtime at home or whatever. I just randomly did questions. I did not have a schedule or anything. And I also did UWorld, but I did not take notes with UWorld. I was just doing questions. So I did that again for my second attempt. This particular time I got all 265 questions, and when you get all 265, it kind of means that the computer is trying to determine if you pass or fail. So wherever your last question is, if it's above the passing line, you pass. If it's below the passing line, you fail. And that second time I failed. So I don't know if I said this or not, but I took the NCLEX 4 times. Okay, 4 times. So going into my third attempt, I did do a little bit more studying. I felt like I was a little bit more prepared. I did UWorld as well. I think I did ATI review book. I kind of like, skimmed through it, not as I should have. So I went into my third attempt, got all 265 questions again, got outside, did the Pearson Vue Trick, failed again for the third time. This was December of 2018. So I'm like, okay, I need to regroup. I need to get myself together. I need to figure out what I need to do to pass this test. So at that point, I kind of took a break because I was just, tired of studying. So while I took my break, I kind of reached out to a few of my classmates, kind of asked them how they studied for the test, how they prepared, and everything. So the feedback that I got was to review the Hurst review that we had in school, which none of us really could pay attention to because we had so much going on in that last quarter. We had a live Hurst review. Most schools do Kaplan, but my school had Hurst. I reviewed the Hurst review. I pulled out my book. I pulled up the videos, and I went page by page, topic by topic. And anything I did not feel comfortable with, I made 1-page notes and I just studied from there. And then also I purchased UWorld again, and whenever I felt comfortable with the content, I moved on to the UWorld, which is a test bank of like over 2,000 questions on different topics. So what I did with UWorld, I actually went topic by topic, and whenever I came across a question that I did not understand or I got wrong after reading the rationale, I still did not get it, I took notes on it. And I had my notes organized by subject, like med-surg, pharmacology. I had it organized like that within my notebook. So once I finished the Hurst and the test bank with UWorld, I just took my notebook and I reviewed. And also what I did differently, going into my fourth attempt, I actually set my test date way ahead of time, which gave me something to work toward. I had a goal, so I wasn't, like stressed out or anything. So I did that. And so leading up to my fourth attempt that week, I was supposed to take the test that Saturday. Well, that Sunday before that, I went to church. So I'm sitting in church and I'm listening to the pastor, and the pastor is talking about, giving his testimony, and then he's talking about, fasting. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking to myself, maybe I need to fast. And so at this point, I'm standing up in church, and, they're going through praise and worship. He gave his testimony, and then we sat down. So I checked my phone, and I had a text message from my coworker who was also preparing to take the NCLEX. She sent me a text just, randomly out the blue. She said some things only come through fasting and praying. And I'm like, wow, that was confirmation. So that particular week leading up to my NCLEX, I decided to, of course I was already praying, praying that I pass and praying for other things, but I decided to fast that entire week. I fasted for 8 hours per day for that entire week. I had a situation going on with my daughter with school that actually worked out that week, so that was good. I went on with my fasting, went on with my reviewing and everything, and by that, I would say by that Friday, it was kind of like, a calmness came over me. Like I was just over studying. I didn't want to look at any more material. I was just ready to get the test over, out the way, whatever. I was just over it. So that Saturday I woke up. I think my testing time was like at 11 a.m. I got prepared. I went down to the testing center, went through all the security checks and all of that, sat down to take the test. Okay. So I'm sitting down, I'm taking a test, and I'm kind of like tallying up like to select all that applies that I get, the drag and drops, things like that. So I'm going through the test, and I'm hoping and praying, as I have been doing the whole week, that this test is going to cut off at 75 questions, because I did not want to go through 265 questions again. If you have ever went through 265 questions, it is brutal. It is agonizing. It is just a horrible feeling. The last time I was in there 5.5 hours taking a test, and that was just a miserable feeling. So I went through, took the test. I felt pretty confident, going through the questions. I'm like, okay, I'm going through this pretty fast. So I kind of slowed down a little bit. So once it got to 75, I'm like, okay, I'm going to answer this question, and this test is going to shut off. So I answered 75. It went to 76. I'm like, oh my God, not 265 questions again. I just can't do it today. I just can't. So I went on, with the test. By this point, I'm kind of laying across the desk. I'm like, Lord, I just cannot do 265 questions again. So I had to go to the restroom, and I'm like, okay, if it gets to 100 questions, I'll just raise my hand, I'll go take a break, and then I'll come back and finish the test. I get to 82, question number 82. I remember the question because it was a subject matter that I was not familiar with, but, I just did process of elimination, educated guess, and the test shut off at 82. So when it did that, I'm laying across the desk. I kind of jumped back from the desk. I'm like, oh my God, did this test just really shut off at 82? That meant I passed. It could have meant that I failed, because at any given number, you could pass or fail. So I went in my car, sat down, and I did the Pearson Vue Trick. I got the good pop-up. So when I got that good pop-up, oh my goodness, I started crying. I started screaming. I was so happy that that part of my life was over, because NCLEX is no joke. It is not like any nursing test that you have ever taken. The questions, some of the questions can be so simple, but they set the questions up to trick you. They want to make sure that your patients are safe in every scenario. So it's completely different. It's nerve-wracking. It was something else. And to have that over, out of the way, was just an amazing feeling. So like I said, I took the NCLEX 4 times. Ideally, I would not have wanted to take it that many times, but it was, I guess God's plan for me to take it that many times so I can share my story and help other people. Since then, I have been able to encourage and help so many others, prepare and pass the test, given what all that I have been through. So I'm going to give you guys a few tips. So hopefully you don't have to go through all that I went through if you can get yourself together in the beginning. Okay. So I have some notes written down, some tips I guess before I go into tips, I'm going to talk about how to study for the actual NCLEX. To study for it, you need to find something that you can review your content with, whether that be ATI, ATI, Kaplan, Hurst, Remar, any type of content review. Saunders is also a good one. Anything that you can review all of your content, find a resource that you can use for that. Now, once you find that and you go through and you feel pretty confident, find a resource that you can do your questions with, a test bank. UWorld is really good. There's also I think NCLEX Mastery, but I found personally UWorld to be the better one, because it gives you a detailed breakdown of why questions are right and why questions are wrong. And even if you get a question right, it will explain to you why the other answers are wrong. So if you can understand the rationales, you will pretty much never forget it. Now, when you are going through UWorld, what I did is I broke down UWorld subject by subject, and I did not move on to the next subject until I was comfortable. But I kept a notebook kind of similar to this, just like a one subject notebook, and I prioritized or categorized all of my notes according to subject. So if I didn't understand something, I wrote down the questions, and then after everything was completed, after I went through the entire test bank, I took my notebook and I reviewed it daily. That really helped me. It helped the material to stick and everything, because I had already written notes on it. And I also did like one-page notes, especially when I was doing endocrine, because endocrine for some reason was the hardest subject for me. So I did one-page notes, and I will go into those in another video to kind of show you how I set that up. But I did one-page notes to help me, grasp the material better. And then once I did that, I also use a dry erase board to help me just write out as much as I can remember about each subject before I moved on. So that was really helpful. After you have done your get your content, your test bank, your notebook, and all of that, just review it as much as possible. And if you feel confident, go ahead and take your test. If you do not feel comfortable and confident, change your test date. Don't, it's not set in stone as long as you change it within 24 hours before your actual test date. You can change it at any time. So don't feel like, oh, I have to take this test because I already set my date. If you don't feel ready, don't take the test. I wish I would have rescheduled my test date on my first 2 attempts. I really wish that I did. Tips and advice that I will give to kind of help you guys out: don't listen to the advice of other people that have taken the test, because no two people will get the same test. And reason being is that the NCLEX is a computer adaptive test. Your next question is determined or based on how you answered the previous question. So if you if you got the question wrong, it's going to give you an easier question. If you got it right, it's going to give you a harder question, and then a harder question. It's just based on, the individual. So no two people are going to get the same test. So there's no need to waste your time and ask someone, oh, what was on the test? What was on the test? Review everything. That is the best advice that I can give you. Review everything yourself so that you are covered. But I will say, on all 4 of my attempts, the subject matter that was on all attempts was prioritization, contact precautions, and endocrine. I had that on all of my attempts. Some people get maternal newborn, some people get peds, some people get med surge. It's just a mix. I don't know why my attempts were like that. That's just what it was. But that's what I saw consistent on all 4 attempts. Also, don't expect to get questions on everything that you, or topics that you learned in nursing school, because like I said, my very last question on my last attempt, I had no idea what that test was. I had no clue. So I had to guess. So you will get that. So kind of be prepared for that. Make sure you put yourself on a schedule when you're studying. That was one thing that I did on my 4th attempt. Before that, I did not have a schedule. I would just randomly, study. On my last attempt, when I came home from work, I would study anywhere from 3 to 5 hours after work. I would just, study like I was in school, like I was preparing to take a nursing exam. I would just have myself on a schedule. I was not watching TV. I wasn't going anywhere. I was really focused because I was just ready to get this test out of the way. So put yourself on a schedule. And also set your test date. Don't wait. Don't start studying and be like, oh, I need to set my test date. I did that. Don't do that. Go ahead and set your test date before you start studying. That way you have a goal to work towards. And also, my last tip, use one resource, one for content, one for questions. Don't pull out your med-surg book. Don't do various books. Like, don't use Saunders and ATI and your med-surg book and a test bank. That's just too much. You get overwhelmed. Information will start conflicting itself. You will be confused and you will set yourself back. So just get one resource for content, one for questions. Stick with that until you get to your test date. So that's all that I have for you guys. I hope that my story has helped you. And if you are one that is that you're a repeat tester, don't feel bad. I'm not embarrassed by my story because I know that I went through what I went through to help someone else. I'm not embarrassed. Don't feel like you're dumb. Don't feel like you are less than, because you are not. When you go and apply for jobs, no one is going to ask you how many times you took the NCLEX. Nobody is going to look for that on your resume. It's not a determining factor of what kind of nurse you're going to be. They're just looking for a license number, and you will have that no matter if you took the test 10 times. It does not matter. It does not determine your fate in nursing. A lot of my coworkers, they are repeat testers, and you would not have known if they did not tell you, because they are awesome nurses. They are, well put together. They have everything, prioritized. You cannot tell unless somebody tell you. So just just be, just be confident. Study, take your time. Don't take your test until you are ready to take your test. I wish you all good luck with the NCLEX, and let me know when you guys pass. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. There will be more videos to come on various nursing topics. Thank you guys so much for watching.